The goal of this video is to show a case study of how to use the Ralstonia Diversity Dashboard. This is hosted on a Shiny Apps server, and there is this longer URL that you can type in, or this URL shortener that goes directly to that same location. This case study is focused on sequevar 1 and sequevar 2 of phylotype 2 within the Ralstonia solanacearum species. This is the pandemic lineage of uh, this is a pandemic lineage that causes potato brown rot, and it's historically known under the name race 3 Biovar 2. Okay, so I've pulled up the dashboard already. It does take about up to a minute to load, so be patient after loading it. It is computing all of the code to make these visuals each time you wake it up. Okay, so this is the default view. That is the full data set over 9,000 strains. If we want to look at the pandemic lineage, there are two ways we can do this. The most simple one is looking at this tab that has all of the pandemic lineage called out, as well as the non-pandemic lineage. So we can unselect those and unselect the strains that do not have genetic identity reported on them in the literature. So now we just have the sequevar 1 and sequevar 2 strains selected. We can see that 2 are selected because it says 2 items selected. And then a different way to potentially do this would be, so like if we come back and all 4 are selected, we also have the option of hitting deselect all and then manually selecting the 2 that are interesting to us. Okay, so now once those are selected, if you just want to look at the pandemic lineage, don't change any of the other parameters and just scroll down to this filter button and click filter. Um, the map automatically loaded. And so now instead of showing all isolates around the world, it is showing the 2B1 isolates. It is, if there's any that are in locations that seem new, surprising, it's worth hovering over those dots and looking at the text-based metadata that shows up for each strain. If it does not say sequevar 1 or sequevar 2 in this strain information, or if the location says, so this is a strain that is showing up in Haiti. The text-based location is Haiti. It is showing up correctly. Um, each of these dots is showing up based on latitude and longitude coordinates that we've used a computational algorithm to infer based on the text-based information. The algorithm has been extremely accurate, but there are over 9,000 strains in this data collection. We noticed a few issues where strains were not showing up in the correct location, and we have manually fixed the instances that we have noticed. But there's always a chance that there are more issues. We have not gone through all 9,000 dots to confirm that the latitude and longitude are correct. So if you happen to notice a mistake like that, please do report that as a bug via this Google form bug report, and we will make sure to get that fixed in the next update to the dashboard. Okay. Um, And this map, you do have the capability to zoom. So if we're interested, say, in the locations in Europe, there's the zoom in button or this pan that will bring it to the rectangular shape of the window. And then we can click the little moving pan button to drag and drop our view. When zoomed in, we also do have the ability to hover and look at some of these different strains. Okay, What you will notice is some of these dots will show up just at the center of the country. That will happen if the location information is just to the country level. Then we're using the latitude and longitude at the approximate center point of that country. And other times, so this is apparently the center point of Greece. Let's see, this is the center of France, but then you'll notice that some of these other locations, within France, are more specific. Apparently, some of them show up to the center of their continental location. So that is something to just take note of. Okay. And if you use this map, please do read our notes of caution about the sources of data. Remember that this is a meta-analysis, and although we've tried to rule out questionable sources, there is a possibility that there are mistakes in the original data or some sort of mistake that has happened in the transformation of that data into these visuals. So if you know just any of the strains are problematic, please do let us know. If there's one that's really interesting to you, so say this CFBP 3866, you can go down to this metadata table and search it. And so then after we search it, it does say the publication with the first author's last name and the year. And so that should be useful for finding the original information. Um, yes. It's possible that when you download the entire filtered data set, I think you will get the link, the version that has an actual URL to the publication itself, but I cannot promise that from this video. Okay, in addition to the information about individual strains and their location, we can also look at the host species that are the major hosts where these strains have been isolated from. So in this case, we're looking at the host plants that the pandemic sequevar 1 and 2 lineage have been isolated from. We see the most common host is potato, Solanum tuberosum. Second most common is a plant where they did not list the host. So if we want to remove that from the plot, we can click this interactive button down here, which says remove unknown hosts. So now we see potato is the most common at 1500. Tomato is the next most common. The weedy plant, Solanum dulcamara, is the next most common, as well as another weedy plant, Solanum nigrum. Eggplant, Solanum melangina, is uh, a rare host of isolation, as well as pepper, Capsicum annuum. A second pepper species, the Solanum americanum, is another weedy nightshade. Uh, American black nightshade, I think, is the common name. Cherry tomato, casuarina trees that are common windbreaks in the global tropics. They have desiccation tolerance, and Ralstonia can cause a decline symptom on those trees that provide that ecological benefit. I'm not actually sure about what this is, but I think it's a weedy species. Um, Solanum commersonii is a wild potato that gets used in potato breeding programs. We have another weed, and then we have several geranium species. So geranium is of note because those ornamental plants are a way that Ralstonia has moved across country borders, including some introductions of the select agent strain into the United States, but those were fortunately contained through quarantine and similar measures. So you'll see on the map that these there is no current report of the select agent within the continental United States. Yes. And then we also have this broken down by plant family. So Solanaceae family being the predominant one, no surprise based on those species names, and the geranium family being the next most common. Recently, there have been reports of rose as hosts for the select agent group. Those reports come out of the Netherlands, where they've done some very detailed surveillance of Ralstonia. And so keeping an eye on this, could be worthwhile. Rose being another ornamental plant that, yeah, has been noted as having infections of this select agent group. Uh, these plots do just show the most abundant host species, not the total. We will notice that there's 24 total hosts. I believe that this is the top 20. So in this case, it is most of the host species that have been reported, but not all of them. If you are interested in that systematic list, then downloading the filtered data set, which I've done here. I will open this file. And this is an Excel spreadsheet. Yes, I was correct. The references to those individual strains are noted here. But this is now the subset of data that has either sequevar 1 or 2. If you want to do a quick check and remove the redundancies, in Excel, there is a data remove duplicates button that you can do. I usually always copy this as I'm just doing a quick exploration. We have 25 unique values, so that includes the unknown, which we remove from our calculations of host counts. Um, and in this view too, we have both the common name and the species name listed. So we've got potato, tomato, yeah, stinging nettle is that weedy species. There's been one report of a plantain, a rare report of anthurium, but mostly solanaceous plants, with the exception of these geraniums and recent reporting of rose. So typically weeds, potato, tomato, eggplant, and pepper are much less common, but possible. Yes. Okay. So similarly, we can also look at let me just double check. Yeah, that was showing on the correct screen. Good. So we also have the information by country. This should be taken with a pretty significant grain of salt. This will be very influenced by reporting bias. So it may not be perfectly accurate. There's been some very detailed surveillance for Ralstonia in Africa, especially by the Reunion Island scientists who are located here off of Madagascar. There's a great Ralstonia diversity powerhouse group in Reunion who have led and collaborated with a lot of surveys in the general region, as well as also collaborating with global scientists. Um, but nevertheless, you can still look at those reporting instances. So in contrast to the sequevar 40, so or sequevar 1 and 2, where we had this pretty broad host range, or pretty specialized, I'd say, host range, where it's mostly potato that's been reported. Lots of Solanaceae, but not many diverse plants. There are also other lineages. So if we want to look at, say, let's look at all of phylotype 1. This is a bit more genetically diverse than what we were looking at previously. Um, But if we do look at phylotype 1, we can see that the dominance of potato is not always there. Tomato is a much more common one. But we can also look across these plant species. Typically, the host of isolation of Ralstonia is dominated by the Solanaceae, but there can be some economically valuable hosts that are impacted in some of these other plant families. Okay, that's just a very brief overview of one case study. So I will end this video here.